On our transatlantic cruise, we went to Cadiz and didn't have an itinerary for the day with our 4 kids. And I'm going to show you everything we did and how to have the best day in this beautiful port town of Cadiz. We started the day leaving the ship and just wandering the city. We didn't really have any specific plans, but we did have a Google map with points of interest that we wanted to explore. From the accessibility front, the city itself is quite accessible. The roads are pretty flat, it's easy to navigate. However, when you get into buildings, that's where you're going to find problems because they're so old and historic. Now, we have a medical stroller with us, and so we didn't have a problem out in the streets.
We find the easiest way to travel with kids is to just go and walk and have low expectations and explore and go find the playgrounds, parks, and food and treats. And don't worry about all the history, especially in Europe. You're not going to see it all. You're not going to do it all, especially with kids that don't want to listen. It's not that they don't want to listen. It's just there's so many other fun things to do, and it's worth just going to experience the culture.
Our first real stop was Jardines de la Alameda.
The attention to detail is just impeccable everywhere you are. So even if you aren't enjoying every single bit of history in a city, you're going to get so much value out of just being here, exploring. Even that tree is just magnificent.
This area is totally public and free to walk through and is absolutely beautiful, especially in the springtime and mid-May when we were there. After meandering through those beautiful gardens, we continued on towards the playgrounds with this beautiful scenic view. On a map, this is the route that we took to get to the playground. That corner is that beautiful view you just saw.
Okay, so we found the playgrounds. I'm going to show you around. We've got swings over there. There is a huge playground climbing structure here. There's another climbing structure over there. And then it looks like there's a baby one far off in the distance.
It was time for us to find lunch, so we meandered back into the streets and found a grocery store.
So we just went to a grocery store and got ourselves a bunch of stuff for a picnic. And now we are going to the beach for a picnic.
If you're curious, this is the route we took to get to the grocery store and then the beach. We ended up getting some local Serrano ham and some local cheese, some bread, some chips for the kids, and some Mexican Cokes and a lemonade. It was just the perfect lunch.
So these little tables are typically for checkers or chess, but that's where we had lunch. Overlooking the beach at low tide. There's also a playground over here. We might hit that up, but our next stop, we've got to find a bakery at some point.
We ended up finding a bakery on our way meandering to the market. We casually made our way through the town just on foot. We didn't have to take a taxi or an Uber or anything. We could just walk, and it was amazing to just have that flexibility and freedom and that everything was so close by. So we just meandered the streets like locals and enjoyed the environment and the scenery and just all the sights and the history and just really loved our time here. And just like that, we found a bakery. We were so excited to just go in, explore, and let the kids pick out a few things that they wanted and just enjoy this tradition. We also have it at home where we go to the bakery every Saturday, and so this is just something that our kids look forward to, and it was no different here. Once we found the bakery, it was just moments until we reached the central market of Cadiz. This place was everything we wanted it to be and more. It's a must do, a must stop, a must see, a must experience. You've got to check it out. Unlike most of the famous markets that we've visited, whether it's in Seattle or Barcelona or anywhere else that are pretty touristy, this one had so much authenticity and was massive. I was so surprised because the city is pretty small. This market seemed to go on forever. They had shops on the outside that had little trinkets and souvenirs and so many other just little knickknacks and textiles and bags and clothes and that sort of thing. Nothing edible, because that seems to all be on the inside of this market, which we are currently approaching. And special note, if you plan on coming to Cadiz, right here is the entrance where you can find the bathrooms. They are through the gate and to the left. But when we were here, they did not have toilet paper and there was a really long line and it was quite the ordeal. So we definitely stopped by a restaurant, got some food, and used the restrooms there. Because when you have little kids, there's just no other option. Let's get back to the market. So while we were walking there, and we're kind of on the outside of the market at the moment, we just noticed so many people. And yes, some people were on tours, but for the most part, these are all locals. And it was just so wild to see so many people walking. It's just such a rare occasion for us who live in the suburbs of the United States where everybody's driving everywhere. It was just such a refreshing thing, and to have our kids around, it was just great. So as we made our way towards the inside of the market, what we noticed is that there were food places all around the outside of the inside of the market where you could buy local food and eat, so almost like a food truck vibe. And then on the inner were fish and meats and all those kinds of things that are not quite things you're gonna eat right then and there. So there were areas for delis, like this one right here, meat and cheese, and then some of the shops weren't even open yet, so we had gotten there, I guess, around the early afternoon, so maybe they were in siesta. But this is where they were starting to set up shop for the afternoon, and we got to be there, and it was just so cool. And right in front of us, you'll notice that somebody was there washing their hands, which I just love that was right in the middle of the market. And this is where we went ahead and got a smoothie for our kiddo with Down syndrome, because that's his favorite thing. And then meandered down a little bit further to find the rest of the family. Our kids were troopers throughout this whole day because we really didn't have a plan as far as what we were going to be doing or how long we were going to be places or where we were going to go, where the playgrounds were. We just really didn't know. We were just kind of flying by the seat of our pants. But they did amazing. And they had the best time kind of seeing things up close and personal that we typically don't get to see in our everyday life. Like a fish market, which is what we were entering into right here. Here I was commenting to my husband that I saw so much parsley, and the reason why that's interesting is because I am allergic to it, anaphylactic allergic. Walking this market was so fascinating because on the inside it felt pretty modern, it didn't feel like an old market. But on the outside you could tell some of the history, but realizing that this was built in 1858 and then has been, it was a public square before that, and this city has been around since 1100 BC with the Phoenicians settling it. It is just so wild to be here. And as I mentioned earlier, yes, there were tourists here, but there were also so many locals that were just spending their time here, coming and gathering and having a bite to eat, some tapas, and it was just so neat to be a part of that authentic experience when you're traveling. The longer we stayed in this market, the more and more crowded it got, and I'm still surprised that we didn't lose any of our children because this place was hopping. There were people everywhere. We were wandering. We probably spent 2+ hours here because there was just so much to see and experience. And I don't know if we saw it all or did it all, but it was a lot, and it was a little bit chaotic, but it was so worth it. All that to say, this is an absolute must-do if you are coming to Cadiz. Now, if you are visiting via a cruise ship, There are obviously things you cannot bring back onto the boat, like raw fish, but outside of that, this is a great place to stop for lunch, to go get some tapas, or even to get some bakery items. There were a few places that had cookies. There's just so much to see here that I think is absolutely worth your time to come to check out. And cookies are always a universal highlight for kids like mine, so we absolutely enjoyed this kiosk. Because we didn't have a plan or a set itinerary of places we had to be, as we exited the market, there was a strip of stores all around the outside of this market that had even more items, whether it was leather, little souvenir shops. I mean, it was just unreal, the amount of commerce in this one area of Cadiz. And the ice cream shop was a short walk away. I did so much research looking for an authentic gelato or ice cream shop in Cadiz that wasn't just a place on the street or something that was all for show. And this place came up as one of the highly rated, and it was so delicious. We ended up getting a few scoops of ice cream and sharing them as a family, and then meandering some more through the city. Like, look at this. It is just a pedestrian street on all sides. If you've made it this far in the video, you may be thinking like, this is not a 5 steps top 5 things to do in Cadiz. And you are absolutely right. There is no right way to see Cadiz because it is so walkable. Just go and explore. So from the ice cream shop, we kind of had to zigzag through the streets to get to the playground, but it was so worth it and not that far. And I'm sure you're tired of hearing me say this, but my kids loved running through the streets of Cadiz. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than this.
Thing to know about Cadiz is that it is incredibly walkable, and the block sizes are much smaller than those of what you might imagine in New York City or other major cities in the US. So while it looks like it's a bunch of blocks away, it's actually really, really close.
As we make our way to the playground, let's recap the top 3 things to know about Cadiz. Number 1, it is walkable. You don't need a taxi or any other transportation. Number 2, you don't need to pay to go see most of the sights here. And number 3, just soak it in. It is amazing.
There's the ship in the background.
So I hope you've enjoyed coming along with us on our favorite port day in Cadiz, Spain. And I hope this helps give you some ideas if you are traveling to Cadiz of things to do and see while you're in port if you're going via cruise line. Anyway, please like and subscribe if you like this video, and leave a comment if you have any questions. We'll see you next time.